Have you ever met the connector? Well, he ponders, he helps, he creates, he writes, he speaks. He basically connects people and brings them together. I speak about Paul Solano of PS and All Marketing Group. At psandallmarketinggroup.com, you will receive an assembled group of Paul's contacts and connections that cross into many sectors of life. Please contact Paul Solano at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com if you are in the market for a wide array of services. Again, please contact the connector, Paul Solano, at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com with any questions. And now, here's Paul Solano, the host of Paul Ponders.
Welcome to Paul Ponders. My name is Paul Solano of PS and All Marketing Group, and I may be reached via email at paul@paulponders.com. Thank you for joining me for my foray into podcasting. It is great to be collaborating with my friend and associate Chalonzo Amos of PodPro Entertainment to bring you some fun, exciting, and informative podcasts. For many years, I've been referred to as the connector, or in Greater Boston circles as the connector. With psandallmarketinggroup.com, I've created a side gig to connect you and get things done. Please sit back and relax and listen to today's podcast. If you are driving or operating heavy machinery and just listening, then please just listen and stay focused on your task at hand. Thanks again for listening. Enjoy my ponderings. Let #PaulPonders begin. Greetings, everyone. How is everyone doing? It's Paul Ponders, #Paul Ponders. And for a brief episode, I just wanted to check in with you and just see how everyone is doing. Talk about grandma. Not you grandmother, but grandma. And acronyms, abbreviations. That's what this episode is about. But before I go into that, FYI, I just want to thank all of you for listening, subscribing, rating, reviewing, #Paul Ponders. I want to thank Techie Talonzo in the control room behind the curtain, just doing a great job as we LOL, we laugh out loud sometimes. We make it happen. But don't be a FOMO. You know what a FOMO is? Someone who's fear of missing out. Please log in to #Paul Ponders. Check us out. You already are. You're on this episode. So anyways, this episode is going to center around the use of acronyms. Now, I'm a stickler for spelling, and I like to do some copy editing work. I proofread, and I am absolutely amazed sometimes at how some people have taken shortcuts on texting, on writing. There used to be something way back when, BITD, as my daughters would say, called shorthand. Okay, abbreviations. And people would abbreviate, they would just know what they were writing, and then they would transpose or transcribe that into a document, whatever the case may be. Good note-taking. When I was at Boston College, I was a history major, business minor, and I used to take a lot of notes in the history classes, the poli-sci classes that I used to take. I had my own set of abbreviations, and I knew what the general thought was. But it's something that has really, in some cases, I think, gotten out of hand in that we have become too reliant on acronyms, on abbreviations. And it's something that I'm looking at, and I came across something on the internet on the most popular or the most talked about or the most used acronyms out there. Now we look at LOL, laugh out loud, YOLO, you only live once, ASAP. Yeah, we all use that. We sometimes speak it. We don't always write it, but we say, I need that as soon as possible. I mentioned FOMO, fear of missing out. But then we get into some things that we may see when we're maybe logging into a site, or we see something if we sign up for a document. But I see CAPTCHA, completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. Isn't that interesting? I didn't know that until I saw this list of popular acronyms. Completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. Does everyone have a SIM card in their telephone? What's that SIM card? That stands for Subscriber Identity Module. SCUBA, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Actually, had a discussion with James Norris of Handicapable Fitness recently about that, because he's going to be starting a scuba program, and we were talking about what that actually entails, and that's pretty cool. So it's one of those LMK moments. Let me know. TGIF, we all know what that is. It's a restaurant, isn't it? No. Thank goodness it's Friday. ROFL, rolling on the floor laughing. DIY, do it yourself. AKA, also known as. FKA, formerly known as. I guess Prince has something to say about that. The artist formerly known as Prince. BF, boyfriend. GF, girlfriend. Or BFF, best friend forever. Before. And then, of course, you get into, okay, instead of writing out the word great, you go GR8. You have UR. I think that the use of the acronyms has, in fact, made us quite lazy in our writing, but also in how we speak and how we communicate with people. And I think it's important that we basically work on that. We try to get the message out. Now, sometimes if you're in a Twitter, now I guess it's called X, if we are in one of those feeds, there's a maximum amount of characters that you're able to use. And some people have said, boy, Paul, you're kind of long-winded. You keep on blabbing, keep on talking like I'm doing right now. But it's something that, I have to use the backspace, and I have to maybe shorten up, maybe change that word and to an ampersand, just to pick up two characters along the way. How many of you find yourself backtracking, backspacing, and going back into that block, and then deleting it, and then maybe going forward? Okay, the countdown is there. I got 9 characters to go. I got 7. Oh no, I have to go back. Whoop. And then you find yourself finally at 0, and then you hit the send button. Well, I think that because we're trying to meet that deadline, or we're trying to meet that quota, if you will, of characters, it's actually affecting our everyday speech. It's affecting our everyday writing. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just noticing, FYI, that that's what I'm seeing. So with that, I don't know if you're LOL, if you're doing an LOL right now, or if you're ROTFL. I have no idea. But it's something that I hope you've enjoyed, this humorous take, maybe not so humorous, on acronyms and grammar. And speaking of grammar, I recommend that you read a book by Lynn Truss. It's called Eats, Shoots, and Leaves, The Zero Tolerance Approach to Punctuation. It's available on Amazon, and I think that if you look up that book by Lynn, Lynne, and last name is Truss, Truss. This was passed along to me by one of our regulars, one of our family members at Pearl Street, Tony. He turned me on to this book and this series. And FYI, it's a very good book. I really highly recommend it. And I think that you will enjoy the book. So anyways, with that said, I want to thank you for joining us for this episode of #Paul Ponders. Again, Techie Talonzo, thank you for doing such a great job, Pod Pro Entertainment. Onward and upward we go. FYI. Thank you. #Indeed. I trust that you have enjoyed Paul Ponders. Again, my name is Paul Solano of PS&All Marketing Group, and I may be reached via email at paul@paulponders.com to do some more pondering. Many thanks to my longtime collaborative friend and associate, Alonso Amos of Pod Pro Entertainment, in bringing you our fun, exciting, informative podcasts. You rock, Techie Alonso. With PS&All Marketing Group, I created a side gig to connect you and get things done. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me at paul@paulponders.com with any questions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Paul Ponders. Follow us on Twitter at Paul Ponders Pod. Follow us on Instagram at Paul Ponders Podcast. Thank you again for listening to Paul Ponders, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website paulponders.com, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment, Paul Ponders lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. The new radio. Until we meet again, my friend, stay well. Indeed.